always like.
So,
I love singing American Boy.
do you know? Do you love?
I love singing American Boy when I'm in like, well, last night like at Milestone, kind of like these Eldorado Hills, kind of more alpha male kind of places. There's that whole line about his confidence is peaking. Don't like them baggy jeans, but I'm gonna like what's underneath them. And it always makes me think of that one song you released.
What song? What song I released?
Damn. You know exactly what I'm talking about. We don't have to mention. We don't have to explain in detail. But anyway, yeah. I always love that because I'm like, I always wonder if it makes anyone uncomfortable. Because I tend to say things that make people uncomfortable after I play in places like that. God dang, dude! I played Fast Car last night, and this couple was next to me, and they were just like, "That was amazing! Like your voice is incredible." And then I go into this whole thing about like how, yeah, that's a song about what it's like not to grow up with generational wealth. And then I talked about working at the jail and how horrible the prison system was, and it just launches these kids into a lifetime of misery and servitude. And we're all okay with it because it's just as long as we don't have to look at them, it doesn't exist. And they're both just sitting there with their like Cosmos going, oh yeah, I mean, it's really hard out there. I have a lot of respect for the people that work the system, the cop, and then I played What a Wonderful World. And then I played that song and said, that's just, my hope is that we can make this true for everyone everywhere, or at least not be the ones responsible for making it worse.
I'll say something.
It's all true. Last night.
I do.
How am I not fired?
One thing about having been a performing musician, I do remember was gaining an appreciation for the work that good comedians can do when it comes to identifying material that can speak to multiple realities at the same time.
Yes.
And you and I have this really different relationship with that because we're typically doing other people's material. We don't have to write it from ground up.
True.
But we don't always know what someone else is hearing. You know, we play a song, I see trees of green,
right,
red roses too, and we're getting emotional about like the visual imagery or the emotional part of it. And there's another person sitting out there like, oh, this is my theme song of racial domination. Right?
You have no idea.
You have no idea what planet
they're just seeing
on.
A plantation and like,
right.
Things be, crops
right there in a clean white suit with a cane and a cigar.
Oh God, just looking like Colonel Sanders. Yeah.
Boss P. Hog.
I feel like everyone
crazy.
Out there knows every word to Fast Car, and I feel like it's like it's like the white person of a certain kind's way of like cosplaying like struggle. Like that they all know every word to that song. And it's just...
That's crazy, dude.
But what, this?
Hey guys, get a look at this. We're just walking by that. That's my name. First name.
Oh, is that the guy that worked you?
No.
Oh.
No, it's how often you see Jeremiah.
Oh, Jeremiah.
Crazy.
I wonder if their parents were really Christians too. Or like some kind of weird religion.
What were we talking about before I got distracted? This is very common.
What a Wonderful World. And you just don't know how a song is going to hit somebody that you're inhabiting in a completely different place in your mind. You know, it's like, is there anybody out there listening to Ted Nugent's music that doesn't know it's fucking disgusting, and they're innocently like enjoying it as an adult? Is that a thing? You know. They just think they're rocking out with the cock out, and you're just like, this dude. He's a child molester. I'll never play any of his songs. I don't like his teeth. He's got a rapey smile from like day one. He's like feral. Proud of it.
I can't imagine having emotionally peaked in such a way that that was like, oh, 15-year-old man, 15's it. That's
that's where it's at.
It just got worse after that. Like, I don't know, man. That generation's got some stuff going on.
It's been a journey. I do feel like we kind of slid it forward a little bit. You know, I see the older Gen X tending more towards boomers, especially kind of in their, what they just think is a normal joke about a woman, or like, you know, different things like that.
Sure.
The kind of humor they use. And I feel like, but a lot of our Gen X generation, or I don't know anything anymore. I felt like I didn't know Me Too was a thing. I feel like I just have lived in my own weird nerdy space and didn't realize how bad it was out there. But I do feel like Gen X has kind of at least helped shift it to, you know, to a space where like the millennials were able to kind of focus a little bit more on mental health and express that. And you know, you get a lot of people now going, oh, these kids, they'll call off work because they didn't get enough sleep that day. And it's true. I mean, I see that in my older friends that are working in leadership positions in an office or in all different kinds of industries. They do see that across the board. But I feel like it's the pendulum swing, to button it up. It's that part of the pendulum swing where it was ridiculous for the people before us to be like, I don't care if I have leprosy and I'm going to spread it to everybody around me. I'm coming to work. I'm working until my fingers fall off from the leprosy. Because why? Why? I'm going to drain my life force for this dude. And they were proud of it. And now the pendulum swung, and now you've got these kids going, I don't know.
Well, I think I
don't feel like doing this.
One dynamic that I think is unappreciated for Gen X is how much of the economy, the entry-level economy, is all service work. And it's fucking tiring. And Gen Z isn't prepared for it yet. And so, you know, you got these kids running publicly open food service. They've got a bathroom that's open to the public. And they've got people coming in who have, let's say, in the middle of the night, deep mental issues. And this kid is, she's 18. She's somehow been handed a manager's key and a password to the point of sale.
Right.
She's got no idea how to deal with a manic depressive who's having a schizophrenic episode. There just hasn't been enough time to train this person.
I was probably raised by a parent that never let him make a mistake.
Yeah.
And fixed everything. Yeah.
So, you know, I think those are the people that are calling in. No one quits a job. You quit a manager. No one calls in sick to a job. You call in sick to a manager.
Yeah.
And I think it speaks to millennials and how poorly that generation maybe thinks about management. I'm not giving Gen X a free pass, but I think one thing that Gen X and Gen Z share in common is that we're both generations that raised ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I had a solid family unit, but it was still at least the same as everyone else, where you came home and
anytime
you got a key and you were alone for a few hours and you had to kind of.
Anytime I hear a story about someone calling into work, I don't want to come into work. I want to hear from their manager, because that's who they're calling in about. That's who they don't want to be at work with, a man or a coworker that's a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah.
You know, or if it's general public, it's just, you know, they got no support dealing with fucking customers who are harassing.
Yeah, you're right.
Take up too much time, or, you know, I've caught myself as an old guy who's a little lonely and hungry for social support, trying to tell some fucking story about being Gen X. You know, in the 90s, Def Leppard put out this album. It's older than you. Anyway,
dude.
Can I get that with oat milk? And then, I went to Oregon one, you know, like that. You know, anyway, the point is, we ask a lot of that generation.
Doing the same thing.
We ask a lot of them. So, of course, they call in. We make their lives miserable.
That, and also just, I mean, being just raised with exposure to every horror in the entire world. Their baseline anxiety and like hope for what even is possible in the future, and then to even have any personal hopes and dreams when they're surrounded by a million content creators that can draw better than they'll ever draw or make it better, you know, and then to be replaced by AI, like, I mean, clearly, I'm hoping that it just kind of moves the spiritual needle to a place where people are really becoming more focused. Everything else has become a waste of time, or a plastic version of itself at 10 times the price, and maybe that's going to move people to move into a more spiritual place that's more personal too, and not signing up for the religions that we came up with. They're seeing Christianity, at least the way it plays out in America, is a grotesque mockery of everything they've been told it was supposed to be. So hopefully all of these failings will move them to a place where they're like shutting things out. That's what I told my kids when I was raised, like when they were younger. Like, you're not going to have to find things to do. Your burden for your generation is going to be developing the skill set to block out all of the fucking noise and distractions so that you can find what you want to do and what you really are. Who are you without being in a reactional state? Like, a lot of people in America don't even know who they are as a person. They just know who they are as a reactionary thing, and just a string of reactions to this thing, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. Leslie said that when we were in Bhutan, because it was just so. She was like, "Can you imagine what you're like without being in a reactionary state, just living in America, just left to your own devices, be your own in this place, neutral place of safety? Who are you actually? What do you actually pursue?"
I think I become a different persona when I'm near the ocean.
Always.
Yeah.
It's just like, I immediately go, oh, I'm supposed to be here. This is how I'm supposed to feel.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about tourist places and being on vacation. I'm talking about what you're saying, like the ocean.
Yeah. I think we find our patterns comforting.
Yes. But here we are now.
Right.
Now I'm a dude in a
Forms to
suburban.
which we become accustomed.
It's true.
I think that stability calms our brains down. I mean, a lot of human history has been a struggle against chaos of some kind, change that we don't control. Because, we know of some civilizations that have collapsed because of something that happened.
I wonder if just universal basic income would quell so much of that chaos that people would start looking for the ways that they are themselves. Like, on the way I was talking, it seems like you always hear these anecdotal stories about it kind of being tested, and I always imagine it in like Finland or Sweden or like Denmark or something, and it seems to have beneficial results. But I'm just thinking to myself, my life isn't so much chaos other than the constant financial hustle of having to live in this country. That's really the only stressor in my life. I mean, I have deep stressors with family and like concerns for my kids, but those are things like I can navigate. I don't see them in the same way, even though they're a lot more important than money. Money is the financial hustle is the single most grating, never-ending, unceasing anxiety. I mean, that's it. Other than that, I can handle this, like the emotional aspects of life, or dive into those things and feel them. And I was talking to Leslie too, just about being ADHD or neurodivergent in her ways and in my ways, and I was talking about that I was realizing I was going through a round of I call it mania, but I don't mean that in like a clinical way. But I just mean that I made the realization a couple years ago that every year, a couple weeks before my birthday, which is in a couple weeks later, just or less.
All right, yeah.
I'm up all night. I can't stop working on stuff, and it's the subconscious mad dash to the end of that year. I'm realizing in just the last couple of years that I was doing this. But my point is, beyond that, being in this space now where my kids are gone and I can kind of be who I am. I have gigs, but I don't have a 9-to-5 job, and I'm up all night sometimes, and I can focus for fucking 13 hours straight in one spot on like this one thing, and I was describing it to her to conclude, again, as like, oh, I'm in this mania, I'm on this and that, and then I just suddenly hit this minute where I was like, I would only describe those things in that way to someone else as a contrast to what they would have to be exposed to as my partner. Like, I'm gonna be up all night and I'm going to be working on this thing, and next to this person that has a normal 9 to 5 and then goes to bed at 10 o'clock, that looks like mania or whatever you want to call the thing. But for me, I'm like, outside of the contrast to a partner, none of my life and my schedules and how I'm up here, and then I accept that I just put out 3 days of work like nonstop, and then that fourth day came and I just crashed here and watched dumb YouTube videos for. I like all that now. I've realized that's who I am. That's my schedule. That's my life, and it's not detrimental to me in any way at all. It was always been in the context of a partnership where you're having to squeeze enough of that into a shape that fits with this person. But
you think a UBI would help that, is what you're kind of...
What's that?
Universal Basic would help.
Oh, no, I was kind of going all over the place, but...
I see. I got you.
But I meant like a lot of the baseline anxiety and the feeling of chaos for me, as far as that is concerned, would be gone with the financial side of things taken care of.
Yeah.
I'm not, and like most people, it's like, am I buying beef this week? Or if I do, will I have enough for my car payment, you know?
Yeah.
Taking that out of the equation. But then beyond the financial thing, I was kind of going to then I started thinking about my mental state and who I am as a person and the things I've struggled with, and realized I like everything about where I'm at right now, mentally too. It's just in the contrast of a partnership with someone in kind of a normal space, that what I do looks like mania, or looks like ups and downs, or being and all of it's normal, part of the creative process, and functional. And that's it. It's not some weird cycle where I'm just destroying myself. I'm realizing, left to my own devices, this is how I like it. It's good. It's good for me. I'm happy in life and the way I push. I feel like I have superpowers, and they're realistically gauged by the progress I've made and the kind of track record I have. But that means I'm up all night. It means I'm not suitable for most partners, period. Except for animals.
Hello, seeking an owl who knows how to make coffee.
Who knows how to make coffee?
Who knows how to make coffee? That's crazy.
Seeking an owl with deep, soulful eyes.
Deep, soulful eyes. Lipid pools of desire.
My daughter was terrified of owls.
Yeah, that's probably smart, evolutionarily speaking.
I mean, they are pretty horrifying, especially if you take the feathers away. Or if you just imagine them with tentacles, they're just kind of like squids with wings. And bird bones. You know, all the ways that we were talking about how lately we're doing these little behaviors that make us realize we're getting older. Yeah, none of those have as much impact as just watching video back from something like this in an hour and going, oh my God.
We're two old guys talking about old guy shit? What the fuck?
It's just, what happened? What happened?
Yeah, life happened.
I'm just kidding. I don't give a fuck.
Well,
I mean,
I struggle to reconcile what I see of as a decade of abject failure in music.
Oh, yeah.
And here I am walking in this neighborhood, and I don't think, beyond some of the people who've actually met me watching this, I don't think anyone knows I had a music career. And I think at this point you would be hard-pressed to figure out what to type into Google to find anything I might have left online.
Right.
I mean, there's no success. I have no name, no street cred. I'm barely on the credits of things I worked on in the 90s that actually had second lives. Maybe I did drum programming for someone or something, but I just wasn't it's not in the liner notes, man. So from a perspective, I have done nothing to earn or deserve living in a place like this.
Well, I mean, you didn't like stack up the money that's usually traded for a place like this, but you certainly earned it. Like,
that's a weird thing to reconcile. I say that,
into their if you're producing other people's music, like you moved their life forward in a real quantifiable way, whether that record sold 1 million copies or not. Like, that's a pretty big exchange on the value.
There's things I value. I did come to enjoy and appreciate.
Sorry, I have extended bouts of flatulence when I have a cold brew.
These guys are the real heroes right here.
Yeah. These days.
Few things have been as satisfying to me as landscaping. Getting a lawn cut just right just brings me so much joy. I could give a shit. Right? I don't want anyone to listen to my songs anymore. Fuck off.
Like, look at the edge on this.
Look at the edge on this lawn.
Look at the edge on this lawn.
And it's ironic because I see struggling musicians still on YouTube just trying to get an audience. And then there's just some guy riding around his little lawnmower, sped up footage, and he's got 2 million views of people that are just dying to watch any kind of control over chaos. Yeah.
I watch those, or someone so being kind to someone else, and like giving them
performative
it's the
kindness,
old lady who can't keep her lawn up, and the fucking HOA is like trying to fine her.
Yeah,
that's another thing people don't realize about musicians. Aside from the fact that everything we knew about what we could sell, how to make music, how to market it, was decimated 10 times over with us having to keep up with each new wave. The other thing is that the final iteration of that is. We are competing not with other musicians or trying to get on MTV. We are competing with a guy who tips his riding lawnmower over by accident and goes like this.
Right. A guy that pranks his girlfriend successfully.
Right. By pretending he's shat in his pants.
Hot out here.
So the funny thing is, I'm sitting here as the working musician that's still out there doing the thing. I was on freaking local news shows last week. Because it's easy to do that in Sacramento. But then I'm trying to send this lady clips of what I do because I'm doing a house concert for somebody who doesn't really know me outside of Joy and Madness. 15 years in 2026, I'm like, don't I have a folder somewhere with all of these videos? Don't I have an EPK on my web? How do I not have? Where is this? I don't even like what I did 3 years ago. And I'm like, I'm in this thing for 15 years, and I can't send this lady a fucking.
Anyway,
or the news station.
That's enough complaining from us today.
Oh shit!
Thanks for joining us.
I didn't even realize I was complaining.
This can never be released. All right, J Squared out.